What happens when a concentrated solution of an acid or a base is diluted with water? So let us see this with the help of an activity. So what we have to show is we are basically showing that dilution of concentrated solution of acid is exothermic process. So what do we mean by exothermic is the process in which energy is going to be released. So those process in which energy is released. And dilution means simply adding water. So we are decreasing its actual concentration. So we are adding water. So addition of water is simply called as dilution, either into acid or a base. So how we are going to perform? The procedure is simply we have to take 10 ml water in a beaker. Now what we have to do is we have to add few drops of concentrated H2SO4 to it and fill the beaker slowly. Means we have to stir it. Then we have to touch the beaker. Now what is going to happen? We have in a beaker concentrated H2SO4 and we have, sorry, first of all we have 10 ml water in a beaker and then we are adding slowly concentrated H2SO4. After some time when we will touch the base of the beaker, it will be hot, and as hot, that means energy has been released and the dilution of an acid is exothermic. So this is what happens when we dilute any acid. Similar thing is going to happen with the base. So similar observation when pellets or you can say pieces of sodium hydroxide are added to water. Thus, when a concentrated solution of an acid like sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid is diluted with water, the process is exothermic or highly exothermic because a lot of heat is being evolved. So how we have proved that heat is evolved? We have proved it by touching the base of the beaker and we will feel that it is so warm. So what we have to do is we have to take must be taken while diluting a concentrated acid, because in some cases a lot of heat is evolved that the acid changes into its vapor which must spread in air and appear as fog. So if we are not taking care during the dilution, sometimes it may happen that acid will be turned into vapor and we are able to see fog along our beaker, and the glass container in which the dilution is carried out may crack. Sometimes it may also happen that our beaker will crack because of the exothermicity of that reaction, because of the heat which is being evolved during the dilution. So dilution must be carried out by adding a thin stream, means few drops of acid slowly to water with constant stirring so that the heat produced is dissipated. So what we have to do is we don't have to put water into acid. We don't have to put water into the beaker of acid. We have to put acid into the beaker filled with water. So this must be taken care that we have to add acid into the beaker of water. So however, if water is added, if we have added directly water to concentrated acid, the heat is generated a lot which may cause splash out and cause burns. So there might be a bit exothermicity and even the beaker may be burned out or broken down. Also the acid will spread and the person who is performing experiment may also get hurted. So care must be taken. So therefore dilute concentrated acid. To dilute concentrated acid, add an acid to water, not water to acid. This is very important. So whenever we have to dilute, we have to add acid to water, not water into acid. Similarly, when a strong base is like NaOH is added to water, again heat is being produced. Mixing of an acid or a base with water, that is which is called as dilution. What happen on dilution? That dissociation of acid. That dissociation means breaking down of acid or base into its ions, means we will have more H plus ions or more OH minus ions in the solution. But the volume also increases. We know that as we are increasing the volume with the water, the volume of the solution will increase. The concentration of H plus or OH minus ion per unit of the volume actually decreases. Means overall volume of the solution is increasing. Also the dissociation is increasing. But the thing is per unit volume of OH minus and H plus is actually decreasing. So now what do we mean by neutralization? Neutralization is simply reaction of an acid with a base to give salt and water. So whenever an acid reacts with a base, we will get salt and the water. The process is called as neutralization reaction or neutralization. So here an acid which is Ha reacting with BOH, we will get Ba salt which is water. Let's have a look on some of the examples. HCl, which is one of the strong acid, which is reacting with NaOH, and we will get salt, that is NaCl, sodium chloride, and we are getting H2O. Now we have HNO3, that is nitric acid, which is being reacted with NaOH, and we are getting NaNO3, which is sodium nitrate, along with the water. Similar for HNO3 with KOH, we are getting KNO3, which is a salt, and the name is potassium nitrate, and we are getting water. So when an acid is neutralized with a base, what exactly happening is the removal of H plus of the acid by OH minus. So means what is happening, that acid have H plus ion and the base have OH minus ion. So they both will react and will form H2O. So this is what happens whenever a acid or base react. So similarly here, H plus and Cl negative ion is in HCl, Na positive and OH negative ion is in NaOH. So Na positive and Cl negative will react, H positive and OH negative will react to form water. So this is what happens in the neutralization reaction. And again, neutralization is always an exothermic process. So neutralization of an acid with a base is always an exothermic process.